Hey, deep divers. So, Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, and cryptocurrency. Big buzz around all that lately. What's the deal with this whole Libra thing? I think we should take a deep dive into this, huh? You might be surprised to hear there are actually some interesting parallels to a, shall we say, certain former U.S. president and his inventions with meme coins.
Yeah, Milei, he's, a radical libertarian. And he really made a splash by promoting this new cryptocurrency, Libra, on social media. It was supposed to be like this huge game changer for Argentina's economy. Big promises about supporting small businesses and boosting growth.
Sounds pretty good on the surface, but I'm sensing a but coming here. Didn't we see something similar with Donald Trump and his meme coin thing?
Oh, yeah, definitely some parallels there. Both Milei and Trump, they have this, this big influence, and they both tapped into that whole crypto craze to promote these digital assets. And in both cases, well, things didn't really go as planned.
Okay, so let's break down this whole Libra situation. What exactly happened after Milei gave it his endorsement?
Well, Milei's post, total investor frenzy, everyone wanted in. Libra shot up like crazy. It went from being worth like a fraction of a cent to almost $5 and all that in just a few hours.
Whoa, talk about a rocket ride. But something tells me this isn't exactly a rags to riches success story, is it?
You're picking up what I'm putting down, that kind of crazy fast surge. It's like a giant red flag in the crypto world. A lot of times it means something called a pump and dump scheme is going on.
Pump and dump. Okay, that sounds a little shady. Break it down for our listeners who might not be familiar with that term.
So imagine like someone starts spreading rumors about, I don't know, a rare baseball card, right? They want to jack up the price, get everyone all excited about it, demand goes way up, and boom, suddenly that card is worth a fortune. And then right when the price peaks, they dump all their cards, make a huge profit, and everyone who bought in at the high price, well, they're left holding something that's basically worthless. That's a pump and dump.
Ah, okay. So in this scenario, Milei's endorsement was the pump. Drove up the price. But was there a dump too?
Yeah. Sadly, yes. As fast as Libra went up, it crashed back down. And a lot of people lost a lot of money. In fact, a U.S. financial firm reported that early investors made off with, get this, $87.4 million before the whole thing went bust.
Oof, that's got to hurt. Anyone who bought in after the initial hype, I mean, was there any signs, anything that should have tipped people off before the crash?
Actually, yeah. Even while Libra was skyrocketing, some experts were warning about a possible rug pull.
A rug pull? Okay, I'm not familiar with that one either.
Think of it this way. You put money into like a brand new apartment building, but then the developers, poof, they disappear with all the money. Before construction even starts, that's a rug pull. The crypto version is when the developers just abandon the project and vanish with all the funds.
Wow. Okay, so some people saw the red flags, but obviously a lot of other got caught up in the excitement. How did Milei react to the crash? Did he take responsibility for endorsing it?
Well, he tried to distance himself from the whole thing, claimed he wasn't really aware of all the details. He even deleted that first promotional post. Interesting to compare that to how Trump reacted when his meme coin venture got all that criticism. He also kind of downplayed his involvement, even though, initially he was promoting it like crazy.
Both Milei and Trump finding themselves in a bit of hot water after dabbling in crypto. It does make you think about the level of responsibility these high-profile figures have, especially when they're endorsing something financial.
Yeah, the opposition in Argentina, they were not happy, calling it a crypto scam, demanding a big congressional investigation. There were even some calls for impeachment, which, kind of echoes some of the backlash Trump got here. Although, to be fair, he didn't actually face any formal impeachment proceedings for his meme coin.
So yeah, things definitely escalated. Did the Argentinian government actually, do anything about it?
Oh, yeah. They launched an investigation into Libra, looking into whether any government officials were involved in any wrongdoing. And the role of all the different players,
Sounds like both Milei and Trump maybe didn't quite anticipate the blowback they'd get for getting mixed up in the crypto world.
For sure. Raises some interesting questions about, ethics and how much due diligence these guys should be doing, especially when it's someone like a president endorsing something financial.
Speaking of due diligence, I'm curious about the people who put their money into Libra. What kind of impact did this crash have on them? Like real people?
There's this one story really highlights the human cost of this whole mess. This 28-year-old guy, a big Milei supporter, invested $150 in Libra, thought he was going to ride the wave, ended up losing almost 90% of his investment.
Man, that's rough. Really drives home the point that you've got to be informed and cautious, especially with crypto.
It's a cautionary tale, for sure. And it's not even just about the money. It's about trust, right? When someone like a president promotes something, people assume it's legit.
Right. But what I find kind of fascinating is that you have Milei, the libertarian, and Trump, the populist. And they both got hit with pretty similar criticism for their crypto stuff. Does that tell us anything? Like, are the risks associated with political endorsements in crypto just kind of universal, regardless of ideology?
Interesting point. Maybe it's a sign of a bigger trend, politicians trying to, cash in on that crypto hype, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. And the fallout can be pretty big, not just for them, but for the average person who takes their word for it.
So what's the takeaway for our listeners? What can they learn from, both the Libra and the Trump situations?
I think the biggest thing is, don't just blindly follow endorsements, even if it's from someone you really like or respect. You've got to do your own research, understand the technology, know what the risks are. I mean, presidents, they get caught up in the hype too, right?
Right. Easy to get swept up in the excitement, especially when you see a big name like a president backing something.
Important to remember, cryptocurrency is still pretty new, and it's largely unregulated. There's definitely opportunity there, but there are also a lot of, potential traps. And it's crucial to know the difference between, a true cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin, which has that decentralized network inherent value, and tokens like Libra, which are basically just contracts on existing platforms.
So tokens are more like bets on a specific project or platform, whereas cryptocurrencies have this whole, broader, more established infrastructure.
Exactly. And tokens can be super volatile and easy to manipulate, like we saw with Libra. Think of them like stock certificates for a company that doesn't actually have any assets. It's all based on hype and belief, which makes them really vulnerable to, people with bad intentions.
Okay, that's a helpful analogy. So with all that in mind, how should our listeners be avoiding cryptocurrency? What should they be on the lookout for? Look for projects with a solid team behind them, a clear purpose, and a track record you can actually, look into. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Get advice from sources you trust. And of course, if it sounds too good to be true, well, it probably is. So a little healthy skepticism is always a good idea, especially with crypto. Anything else our listeners should keep in mind?
One thing people don't always realize is that the whole regulatory landscape for crypto, it's still a work in progress. Something that might be totally fine in one country could be completely illegal somewhere else.
So it's kind of like the Wild West out there, different rules and regs depending on where you are. What are some of the biggest hurdles for regulators when they're trying to, keep up with this crazy, fast-moving industry?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is all decentralized, right? These transactions, they happen on a global network, so it's really hard for any one country to actually enforce their own rules.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like herding cats or something. Are there any, international efforts to try and create some kind of global framework for regulating crypto?
Yeah, there are definitely ongoing discussions and stuff. Different countries working together, trying to come up with some more standardized rules. But it's complicated. It's going to take a while.
So basically, for now, it's still buyer beware.
Pretty much. You got to do your homework. Be aware of the risks. And I think that brings us back to something we were talking about before, that question of responsibility. When someone like a president endorses something financial, especially in a volatile space like crypto, does their position, their influence mean they need to be extra careful?
Yeah, that's a question I've been thinking about a lot during this whole deep dive. Milei, Trump, they both got a lot of flack for their endorsements. But neither one really faced any legal consequences, at least not so far. What are your thoughts on that?
It's tough, right? Because you have freedom of speech. Even presidents, they're allowed to express their opinions, support projects they believe in. But at the same time, when someone with that much power promotes something financial, it can create an uneven playing field. People might invest just because of that endorsement, without really understanding what they're getting into.
So it's about finding that balance between individual freedom and protecting people from getting, potentially hurt.
Exactly. And there's no easy answer, but it's a conversation we need to keep having, especially as crypto becomes more and more a part of everyday life.
Totally agree. We need to figure out how to, harness. I hope you'll keep learning. Stay informed. And approach the world of cryptocurrency with, a healthy mix of curiosity and caution.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Knowledge is power, especially in the world of crypto, which is always changing.
That's so true. And on that note, it's time for us to sign off. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, happy exploring.